This is Leadership LA. Joe Buscaino, council member for the 15th District, stopped by the Board of Neighborhood Commissioners to talk about civic engagement and the power of great partnerships between City Hall and local neighborhoods.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Madam President, and Commissioners, and Grace. Thank you so much for having me, and also our stakeholders who are here day in and day out, serve our community. I want to thank you as well. It's a huge commitment, and it's a great benefit to our community. You get paid this much right here, zero. But thank you so much for your ongoing commitment to serve our community, and it's great to bring City Hall to the streets of the Council District 15, where this is home of the first neighborhood council in the city of Los Angeles. I know there's some debate there with Pat.
They're sitting at the same table.
And to our local commissioner, Victor Medina, I'm so proud of, and we had an opportunity to partner when I was a senior lead officer, even more so now as a council member, to see you take on this leadership position. I'm so just excited about your role representing us on the commission, and I want to continue to thank Mayor Garcetti for putting you in this position to continue to lead and show your continued love and support for our city and our district specifically. So with that, I'll dive into some of the questions and the issues of leadership and how better to partner with the neighborhood councils. And let me say this, we have done incredible work in the last couple of years, specifically dealing with public safety. If you look at our crime numbers in the harbor area, we have led the city in overall crime reduction in 2013. That is a huge, you can clap at that, it's okay. We love you for it. We led the city in overall crime reduction, so we attribute that success to not only the hard work of the men and women of the LAPD, but also to the outreach efforts and our community-based policing efforts. I see Linda and James and members of the Central San Pedro Neighborhood Council. Yes, 4 members as well. Andrew, thanks so much. And Colin, good to see you. They kicked off last year with a seminar on community-based policing and brought in members of the LAPD command staff, senior lead officers. And then later on in the year, we had the Coastal Neighborhood Council, San Pedro Coastal Neighborhood Council, and other neighborhood councils partnered with a crime prevention seminar that was held at our beloved Elks Lodge that drew a lot of people throughout the district. And so coupled with the fact that the neighborhood councils in San Pedro worked on the importance of community-based policing, of crime prevention, of neighborhood watch groups, and emphasizing the importance of neighborhoods connecting and neighbors, connecting with neighbors, I think I feel that attribute to the overall crime reduction leading the city in that effort. So leadership takes those types of partnerships, working together to set goals, achievable goals, and overall look at the overall measure of effectiveness and measure the success based on the relationships and also the partnership opportunities. In addition, we're looking at finding new ways through innovation, new projects that can be born with every single resident. Every resident can be empowered by coming to a neighborhood council and putting forward an idea or putting forward a project. You know, the reason why I won this election was the grassroots effort. And I attribute my relationship as a senior lead officer to my relationship with the neighborhood councils and going to neighborhood councils and reporting on the ongoing crime trends and the partnerships and prevention. And you know, I got some negative feedback from the Coastal Neighborhood Council, and they said, you know what, we saw you as a senior lead officer every single month. And now you're the councilman, and we don't see you every single month. So I had to share with my neighbors at the Coastal Neighborhood Council. I now represent 250,000 people in the 15th Council District, and I'm all over the place. So it was, you know, I attribute my success, my personally, professionally, my success to my relationship with my neighborhood council. And you look at, you know, leaders that have inspired me, talk about leadership, was my mentor, Pat Gannon, as we all know, is a champion in law enforcement here, now is a chief of police at the world airports at LAX. And Pat really shared with me the importance of community-based policing, of embracing the community, including the community in the problem-solving process. And I've taken the role as a council member now, based on what I've learned as a senior lead officer, is, you know, partnerships, problem-solving. People ask me, do you miss police work? And I reply, well, it feels like I haven't left police work as a councilman now. I just don't wear the bulletproof vest. Sometimes I do. But I can see how, you know, working with our Harbor Gateway South Neighborhood Council on, you know, putting together a plan to put together to work with Rec and Parks for the first pocket park in Harbor Gateway that, you know, address the issues of not only registered sex offenders but also public safety. So we turn to, you know, I put on my senior lead officer hat almost every single day, and I never forget that, the partnership opportunities, and that's what has led me to where I'm at today. We talk a little bit about how oftentimes at City Council we rarely see community impact statements, and Commissioner Grant and I have, she's worked with Dennis Gleason in my office about fine-tuning that process, because oftentimes I look at the council agenda and I look at the community impact statements, hardly ever, Diana, we talk about this, hardly ever we see community impact statements from our neighborhood councils across the city of Los Angeles. So you know, I understand, Grace, you guys put together perhaps a letter that was sent, and now it's sitting in committee. Just know, you know, I'm going to work with my colleagues to nudge the committee to hear the item and to put, you know, make sure that we fine-tune that process. So I'm hoping it gets to committee. I think it's sitting there, but we can collectively nudge the chairman to hear the item and then ultimately come to City Council for approval. Talk about strategies. You know, what I learned when I first launched the effort of saving our streets, of fixing our failed streets and sidewalks. You know, I came into this position dreaming big, thinking big, doing bold things, and chairing public works. As you know, we have the worst streets and sidewalks in the country. I turned to Mitch Englander, who's the chief of staff for Councilman Greg Smith, who Greg Smith chaired public works for many years. And we worked together, as you now know, on putting together a plan, Save Our Streets Los Angeles. And it was last November, that we launched the effort. And we heard loud and clear, this is a great idea. Yes, we do need to fix our streets and sidewalks. However, the neighborhood councils have not been aware, have not been embraced, have not been approached on this problem. So, you know, Mitch and I turned to each other and said, you know what, they're absolutely right. They're absolutely right. Let's work and educate and include the neighborhood council in the process. And we are so proud of the fact that we hit almost every single neighborhood council in the city. For us, it was my ongoing quarterly meetings with the neighborhood council presidents, and even the Hank, and we provided the book, our research. There you have it right there, Andrew. Our Save Our Streets LA, our SOS LA book that, sorry to our environmental friends, we did kill a few trees. Just a few. But it just clearly shows that it's a huge issue, and if this is approved by the voters, will be the largest infrastructure improvement project that the city has faced in over 100 years. So it's important as far as the strategies and some of the challenges that I see in overcoming the neighborhood councils is doing just that. You know, when we have big ideas and bold ideas, we need to continue to embrace the neighborhood councils and educate the neighborhood council members and stakeholders on issues that continue to impact the city of Los Angeles. As far as opportunities to partner with neighborhood councils, some of the issues that I'd like to see, take on some responsibilities, again, putting on the senior lead officer, beautification projects, quality of life issues. We have great partnerships with a number of nonprofits. We were just here in Wilmington just this last weekend with ShareFest at Wilmington Recreation Center. There are so many nonprofits that I feel that the neighborhood councils should really embrace and knock on their doors, with funding so tight. And I think there are partnership opportunities with our local nonprofits that we need to embrace throughout the city of Los Angeles that really focus on beautification projects, clean Wilmington, clean walks, clean San Pedro that we embrace and celebrate. As far as being responsive to beautification projects, the city can't do it alone, as we often say. Those public-private partnerships are alive and well, and I think the neighborhood councils can do better in tapping those resources. So with that, I want to thank each and every one of you, to all of our commissioners, thanks for your service. To our stakeholders who are here representing neighborhood councils and their residents, thank you so much for taking the time. This is great to see, and let me say, Grace, I just had a meeting with her in my office, and we try to meet every so often. I just love your energy. I really love your commitment, and I love your newsletter. You like mine too, right? You like, thanks so much. Thanks, brother.
I like the videos.
It's a great working relationship I have with you, and I want to thank you and your team for just being responsive, and every time we pick up the phone, you guys you respond. So thank you for your leadership and your passion to serve our city, and your continued love for the movement, for the neighborhood council system, and the entire department. We thank you, and I know some tough financial times ahead, and as much as we'd like to fund the department, everyone's taken a hit, as we all know, a shared sacrifice, as we often say at City Hall. So thank you so much for your leadership, commissioners. Thank you for coming down to Wilmington and sharing your agenda with our residents. Thank you so much.
So can we ask you a couple questions? I actually have a question, because I think, in speaking of leadership challenges, the Save Our Streets project is one of them. So, so how do you see actually making that happen?
Yes, so great question. So in order for this Save Our Streets initiative to be on the November ballot, we need to act by July 2nd or July 3rd, the last day of our, before we break for recess. As we heard, and I put the Public Works, as chairman of the Public Works, one of the issues we heard was we weren't getting a lot of outreach. So part of the effort was to bring the committee to different parts of the city, which we did. And we heard loud and clear that this issue, this financial issue should not be placed on the burden of, should not be placed on the backs of property owners, as you heard me say several times. That this should be a shared responsibility. Everyone uses our streets and sidewalks. And the CAO, CLA came out with a report a few weeks ago that indicated a proposed half-cent sales tax for 15 years. It'd be the creating 40,000 direct and indirect jobs over a period of 15 years. And we'd have to go to the voters to approve that. The game plan is to look at a 2/3 vote, looking at 66% of the vote. That higher threshold will commit to the voters that if approved, those dollars will be put in a public works trust fund. We're hearing a lot of trust factors involved here, right? Okay, voters. In fact, I was at the Cabrillo Aquarium event, fundraiser, and someone came up to me and goes, I love what you're doing, but I don't trust politicians when we put the money in politicians' hands. We vote on an item, we vote on a bond, we vote on a measure, and yet we don't know if those dollars are going to be spent. So in the package, and the reason why I'm supporting this is because we will commit through a citizens oversight committee like we've done with other bond measures, through a administrative oversight committee that we hope to include, and I'm going to push to have neighborhood councils on that citizens oversight committee that will ensure that over 15 years, those dollars will be spent on streets and sidewalks. So to answer your question, it has to go through 3 committees: Public Works, my committee, Budget and Finance, and Rules Committee as well. 3 committees, and we're going to wait till budget finishes in June. We're going to launch into this effort, and we're hopeful that my colleagues agree to put this on the ballot in November to let the voters decide, because 10 years ago when the city looked at this issue, it was at a cost of $1.5 billion to fix our failed streets, and it's doubled in 10 years. So we need to do something, otherwise we're just going to completely disregard our infrastructure in the city of Los Angeles.
Great, thank you so much.